An updates meeting. I am recording this, so please know you're being recorded, and I'm going to also share my screen so we can all see the agenda. Thank you all for joining us today. We record this so that all of our volunteers who are not able to attend in person can still catch up on everything that we are doing here in Northern Nevada in disaster cycle services. And here we go. This is the one I'm looking for. Can everyone see my screen okay? Everyone see the agenda?
Yes.
All right. So we're going to get started. And so I am Bear Lewis. I'm the Disaster Program Manager here in Northern Nevada, and I thank you all for being here. As Disaster Program Manager, I am your main point of contact to everything related to disaster cycle services here in Northern Nevada, specifically out of the Reno office today. We are going to be at the Winnemucca office in 2 weeks, 2 weeks from today, where our meeting is going to be in person. Anybody who would like to carpool from the Reno chapter office to join us for a little Thanksgiving celebration and meet some of our volunteers out there in the Winnemucca area are more than welcome. It will probably be a late return. Our meeting goes till about 4 to 5. We'll probably have dinner and some socializing between 5 and 6 and then head back. So we'll probably getting back to the Reno area between 8:30 and 9 o'clock, but everyone is welcome. And I'm hoping for some passengers if you want to join me. Also, just want to say welcome to all of you. Thank you for attending in person, and thank you for watching online if you're watching the recording. Matt Stevens, our Regional Disaster Office, is here with us today. He's not in the office yet. He's still talking to a couple of people out in the lobby, but he'll be joining us in a little bit. Matt is our Regional Disaster Officer. He's normally works out of the Salt Lake City office. As Regional Disaster Officer, he's in charge of all disaster cycle services for the region, so for all of Utah and Nevada. So I report up to him as well as all other disaster cycle service staff and volunteers in Northern Nevada and all throughout Utah and Nevada. Does anyone have any questions about what our Regional Disaster Officer does? Or would any of you like an opportunity to meet with Matt while he is in town? He'll be here the rest of the day today and then tomorrow. So please raise your hand, speak up if you would like me to coordinate a meeting with him. And we're going to also ask him to talk a little bit about himself later on when he gets in here with us. Oh, any questions about our Regional Disaster Officer? Okay. Well, we have 4 birthdays this week, so happy birthday to Mark Birch, Matt Henderson, Sarah Stevenson, and Micah Robertson. I forgot to put her date in there, but it is also November 6th. Mark and Micah are both newer volunteers, so if you all get an opportunity or come across them, please wish them a happy birthday. Sarah Stevenson is out in the Elko Spring Creek area, and Matt Henderson, he's here in Reno. He is he's actually the chair of our board right now. So all of our board members, they report to Matt. So if you see any of those individuals, please wish them a happy birthday. As always, I've included the link to our meeting from last week. So if we refer to anything in this meeting that happened last week and you want to catch up on that video, here's the link. Today is the final day to submit the photos of your CAC card proxy numbers and your CAC sheet that comes with the client assistance cards. So if you are a disaster action team member, responder, and you have client assistant cards in your possession, and you have not yet taken a photo of them and reported that information to Stephen Kenzer, please do so as soon as possible, because today is the last day to get that information to Stephen Kenzer. If he does not receive the information he needs, those client assistance cards will be canceled and they won't be any good. So really important that when we get those audit requests from him, that we respond so that the CACs we have in our possession will continue working. Does anyone have any questions about our client assistant card audit? This does actually also include mission cards. So if you're one of the couple of individuals out there who are holding on to mission cards, he'll also need to see those proxy numbers and sign out sheets. Does anyone have any questions about why we do that or the process? Okay. Some important information to share. We started out really slow this month with disaster action team responses. As they did last month, they picked up in the last third of the month. So since just the last, I would say 10 days of the month, we've had 5 responses. They've been in Washoe and Lyon counties. All but one have been in Washoe County. And one of those DAT responses included evacuation support. So last week, there was an evacuation in Verdi. A wildfire started up. It was actually on the California side of the border. So there were a small number of homes that were evacuated from the California side, but there was a significant number of homes that were right around Gold Ranch and the Reno Sparks Indian Colony Smoke Shop and kind of the neighborhood behind there. That whole area was evacuated, and we were working really closely with Washoe County. They requested our support for the evacuees. We never had to open a shelter, but we did send our IRV out there with a few DAT responders who were available to provide information, provide water and snacks to any of the individuals who evacuated from that area to Boomtown is where that evacuation point was. Boomtown had graciously offered us a room to use if it had expanded and we needed to take to offer our services to more individuals that evacuated. About 20 people showed up at Boomtown. Boomtown. Some of them wanted our services. Most were just there. I think it was the closest place for them to go business-wise, and they were just having an evening there while the evacuation took place. Everyone was evacuated right just not too long after midnight, and everyone got to go back to their homes around 6:30 that morning. So our DAT responders were out there. We actually received the request for support around 12:45 a.m. and our responders were on scene within 2 hours. So great response. Thank you so much for those of you who went out and responded that evening. It was Jim Rich, Susie Askew, and Kristen Venter. Thank you guys very much for going out there, spending 6 hours in the wee hours of the morning. Does anyone have any questions about that particular response for the evacuation in Verdi or any of our other disaster action team responses? Okay. As always, in the agenda, there's going to be a link to all of our 2024 fiscal year DAT responses. I'm also mapping those responses, and I'm going to share that out at a future meeting. We're going to use those tools to identify areas that we may want to do outreach in. One of the ways that we're doing outreach is through our post-home fire outreach group. And what that means is we're identifying where those disaster action team calls are. And then a small group, it's been Jean and Chico held so far, thank you guys so much, have gone out and hung door hangers in that neighborhood where that fire occurred. So while it's fresh on everyone's mind, we're hanging door hangers in hopes that they will reach out to our home fire campaign and request that we install smoke detectors should they need them in their homes. Jean, can I ask you to come off mute if you don't mind and talk about our post-home fire outreach and anything else I may have forgot to mention?
Sure. So Chico and I live in South Reno, so it's really easy for us to cover that area. We've brought home probably about 200 of those door hangers. So I go on RC Care every couple of days just to see if there's been a DAT call. And if there has, then we get the address, Google it, and it's really easy to just go out. Of course, we have to go out in twos. So luckily my husband goes with me, and then we walk up and down the street. We don't go into any yards. If there is a gate in a yard, then we try to figure out a way to just push these flyers onto the gate or hang it onto something. And otherwise we tried to hang it on the doorknob. We don't go to apartment buildings. We don't put any of these flyers into the mailboxes. I think that's illegal. But as Sherry said, we're just hoping that people in the neighborhood go, oh my gosh, we don't have a smoke alarm, or we have a smoke alarm, but we took the battery out years ago. And that's another selling point, is that our smoke alarms have 10-year batteries. So it would be wonderful to have someone in Northwest Reno, Northeast Reno, who would just come to the office and take 50 to 100 of these door hangers home, and then let me know. So then if there is a fire up in those neighborhoods, then I can text you or email you. And there's no time frame. If you can get there within 2 or 3 days after the fire, that's great. But if it's a week later, I think people are still driving by the burnt house every day, and it is still fresh in their mind. But we're hoping that it really causes an increase in people asking for our smoke detectors.
Exactly. Thank you, Jean. And it's also an opportunity for any volunteer to support their local neighborhood, and there's no experience required. So you might get a phone call one day and say, hey, there was a fire in your neighborhood. Would you like to join me or a couple of us who are going out in your neighborhood, in your community, to do this, and welcome you to join them? Because it's, like I said, it's a really easy thing to do, and it's something you can do right there where you live to help support your community. So if you're interested in help growing this outreach program, we have a monthly work group meeting. It's the fourth Monday of every month. We just had one this past Monday. We'll have one again. Let's see what the fourth Monday is next month. Is going to be the 27th. So the Monday following Thanksgiving is when we're going to have our next meeting about this very thing. And we talk as a group about how we can help grow the efforts, how we can bring more team members in, and how we really want to focus on these communities and making them more prepared for home fires. So if you have any interest in that, please reach out to me or reach out to Jean Held. And we'll be able to support you in getting going in those efforts. Or if you're in one of our more rural areas and you want to get this started out where you are, either after home fires or even just to do outreach in your communities and neighborhoods, please let me know. We have tons, like thousands and thousands of door hangers we can use. We also have other things that we can use to do outreach in those areas. We have flyers if you want to hang those in businesses or to do at a tabling event, anything like that. But it's all in an effort to drive those requests for smoke detectors installations through our home fire campaign. Any questions? Oh yeah, go ahead, Jean.
It doesn't take a long time. I mean, and that's up to the individual as well. I mean, if you want to spend an hour going up and down the street and over to the next street behind the fire and down a couple blocks, that's wonderful. But if you think, oh, I've got to be home by 4 o'clock, and you just spend 30 minutes there, I mean, that's fine. That would be a huge benefit as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So any questions about that, you guys? Okay. Well, now's the part of the meeting where we talk about things that happened since our last meeting. So we had a pretty busy week last week. Not only did we have that evacuation response, but we did some trunk or treat events. On the 26th, I was down in Mineral County in Hawthorne at their spook night, trunk or treat event. I handed out over 1,000 snacks that had our recruitment cards attached to them. So we're really hoping that we'll get some new volunteers who reach out to our volunteer services team who want to become volunteers down in Mineral County. Heidi Johnson, who is a volunteer with Red Cross, is also the emergency manager there. She joined me at that event and invited us there. It was a ton of fun. And I got to drive a fire truck, which was super, super cool. I've been to a lot of fire departments. I've been to a lot of counties and areas, and no one has ever invited me to drive their fire truck. So it was super exciting, super fun experience. And we got to network with that community, and hopefully we're going to get some more volunteers down there. I'm definitely going to share my fire truck experience with them in hopes that will inspire them to want to become volunteers down there. It's pretty fun. Any questions about Mineral County or Hawthorne or any of our areas down south that we respond to that's in our area? Hey, I think that same night or the following night, I don't have the details, but it's definitely worth mentioning. Erica Smith attended a trunk or treat event in Sparks, and I think she also gave away well over 1,000, but I think it was closer to 1,400 snacks with our recruitment card in Sparks. Erica, are you on our meeting today by chance? Let's see if I can see the people. No Erica with us today. So we might have her report on that later. But hey, here's Matt. Matt, will you say hello and introduce yourself? And I want to go grab one of those snacks that we've been working on that we're giving out as handouts.
Okay, right on. Hey, Jean, I know Jean. Oh,
Hi,
Laura.
Matt.
Okay. That's Nancy. Is that Nancy John? Yeah, I can't see anything, so I don't even know who I'm talking to.
You don't. So here, let me change the screen a little bit so you can see. Here's all the people that are on our meeting right now. So we have 12 people in with us. Everyone, this is Matt Stevens. He's our regional disaster officer. I did tell them that you were going to join us.
Okay, cool.
And I mentioned earlier that you're basically in charge of all of disaster cycle services, all of the staff and the volunteers that support disaster cycle services in all of Utah and Nevada.
Yes, ma'am.
So
Look, first off, pardon my tardiness. I've been yodeling in the mountains in Reno next to the chapter all day, and so now I'm here. But what a pleasure. And so the purpose of this meeting is volunteer opportunities and updates, I'm saying.
Yes.
Cool. Well, great timing. So yeah, look, about me, my name is Matt Stevens. I've been with Red Cross for 8 years, and I've bounced around through Texas. I was in the North Texas region for about a little over 6 years, and held different positions. Loved the heck out of Red Cross and disaster specifically, and have taken on the position as regional disaster officer. I live in Salt Lake, and I've been here for 2 years now, and just absolutely love it. Love what I get to do. And so what do I get to do? Well, the reason that I joined Red Cross was I wanted to help people, and I wanted to help people when they're in need most. And I like to attribute that to maybe I'm a good person, but it actually makes me feel good. It makes me feel better about myself, that I'm not wasting time on this planet and I'm helping those that need it. And after a year or two of doing DAP response 24/7, I realized the true meaning of Red Cross, and that's to empower volunteers. And I realized the true meaning of my job role, which was to empower volunteers. And so ever since then, that's what makes me happy. What makes me happy is meeting a Sarah Stevenson or a Jen Jay or a Timothy Christie for the first time and saying, you know, what do you do? What brought you here? Doing some hand holding and introducing you to some people that are going to help you succeed in whatever role it is that you choose within this organization. I have had the privilege, I haven't been here for 20, 30 years. Like we've got, our regional executive, Heidi Ruster's at her 30-year mark right now. So there's some people that got some more time on me, but I have been here long enough to meet people when they walked in the door and they were uncomfortable and they didn't understand any of the acronyms. They didn't know what they wanted to do, but they stuck it out. They hung in there, and now they're these amazing leaders, these volunteers that are running the show and doing amazing things, not only locally for their local chapter, but they go all over the country. So that's me. That's why I'm here. I love this place, and I'm excited about meeting you guys. Do you know everybody on this call? Are they mostly new, or are they?
No. I've met everyone on this call.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any questions for Matt? And what happens at the regional level?
Yeah. Good.
Whoa, you guys don't all raise your hands at once. Sounds good. Well, if you guys think of any questions that you want to bring up to Matt, or if you ever want to have a meeting with Matt about what opportunities are available at the regional level to support in leadership opportunities for all of Utah and Nevada, I've mentioned it a few times, but anyone is always welcome to help support our duty officer team, which is a regional position, but there's a lot of other regional positions. So if you're ever curious about those, you can reach out to me, but Matt is also another resource who can help lead you in that direction, and you can support even more people than you do here in Northern Nevada if you would like. So reach out anytime about those different opportunities. I'm going to bring our agenda back up. Thank you, Matt, for joining in and for introducing yourself. So you guys, I want to show you really quick. I ran out and I don't know how closely you can see this. I'll try and get a little close up. But Erica Smith, her daughter has a nonprofit organization called Ashley's Closet. And Ashley's Closet gives out stuffies and toys and different things to kids who've been impacted by disaster and lost all their stuff. An organization reached out to Ashley's Closet and said, hey, do you want a bunch of snacks? And they don't really hand out snacks. They hand out toys and cookies. But Erica said, we might be able to utilize those for Red Cross, and some other nonprofits might appreciate it. So she got us more than a pallet of these. Pockies. I don't know if you guys know what Pockies are. I had no idea what they were, but they're little cookie snacks that kids love like crazy. And we had a stash of these really cool volunteer cards. It's English on one side, Spanish on the back side, basically inviting people to join our team. So these little cards that we had a stash of fit perfectly on these snacks. We've had a bunch of volunteers come in and attach them, and they are ready to hand out at any of our events. We also have boxes. If you feel like stopping by this evening and giving away these as your Halloween snacks, come get some free snacks to give out, because it can only help us grow our team, and that makes it so that we can serve that many more people before, during, and after disaster to help them through the whole process. So super excited. Thank you, Erica Smith, for getting this new partner for us. The other exciting thing is these are endless. She said that this is an endless resource. Basically, these snacks are set to expire, and so they'll get thrown away if they're not donated to a partner organization that can use them. So I said, bring them on. We will use them to hand out to our community partners, to our fire departments, to people in the community, and we can use them as a tool to help grow our team. I'm thinking that the next batch of cards we get will actually have our home fire campaign information on them, so we can actually utilize them to do outreach and get more requests for smoke detector installs. If you guys have any other brilliant ideas of how we can use snacks, these little giveaways, please let me know, because we have an endless supply. It's a free resource, and it's a great way we can do outreach and connect with partners and potential future clients and potential future volunteers. So let me know. Let Erica know. And thank you again, Erica, for making that connection. We also had the welcome lunch last week for our new executive director. Her name is Tiandra Rushing. If you guys have not had the opportunity yet, please coordinate a time to come in and meet with her. I think she's planning on being in the Reno chapter office, typically on Tuesdays and Thursdays. But if you would like an introduction, if you would like me to make a personal introduction or coordinate that meeting, please let me know. She was born in Northern Nevada. She's a battle born. She knows a ton about our area, but she's really excited to learn Red Cross and engage with our volunteers and with our partners throughout. So please welcome her aboard and get to know her a little bit if you like. And if you're interested in supporting any of her efforts, please let me know, please let her know, and we'll connect you and let you know what she does and where she can use support. Any questions about our new executive director here in Northern Nevada?
Hey, there's the FYI, guys, there was a press release.
Oh,
Yeah, I'll share that with you.
Oh,
So
cool.
They put it in one of the local papers, and I think it might have been the news blurb or something, so.
Very cool.
With Bear.
Very cool. And you guys, you know, our executive director, Mary Powell, in the past, she did a ton of media interviews. Well, guess what? In the first week Tiandra's been on board, she's already done at least 2, but she's maybe done more than that. I'm personally aware of 2 that she's done. So she's jumping right in full force, getting the Red Cross message out there. So again, super excited. I'm excited to see that press release too. On Friday, we had 13 individuals from around the world come into our office here in Reno. It was coordinated through the University of Nevada, Reno International Extension Office. And it was really cool. We had people here from, like I said, 13 different countries: Morocco, Uruguay, Paraguay, Ecuador, Chile, the Czech Republic, and I'm forgetting some others. But they were all here, and we were talking disaster response, how disaster response looks here in Northern Nevada compared to Florida. They visited a Red Cross office in Florida and talked about how hurricane responses look like. They had also visited our national headquarters in Washington, D.C., and talked about Red Cross in general. So with their 3 visits throughout the country, they got a really good picture of how Red Cross responds to disaster, prepares for disaster. Most of their questions for me were around what rural responses look like and how we coordinate with our partners to make sure that everyone in rural areas are taken care of after disaster, and what mass care looks like in those areas. So really cool opportunity to network. I'm really glad to have them in my contact list now, so I can learn from them and what they do in their countries. The other fascinating thing that we started out the discussion was going around the room, and I asked them, I said, you know, what do you know about Red Cross, and how does Red Cross respond in your country? And it all was about mass care, right? It's always about taking care of the people, but there were a lot of nuances in the different ways we respond in different countries. It was fascinating. One country, their ambulance service is totally ran by Red Cross. They don't have like fire departments or paramedics. And so it's really interesting how we can learn from others, but also how we can share some of the tools that work for us, especially because the United States is so huge and geographically and demographically is very different. And we deal with different situations and so many different disaster types. We also talked quite a bit about no notice events like wildfire evacuations, as opposed to notice events like hurricane evacuations and how those look, and we plan a little bit differently. So if you guys have any questions about those types of opportunities to engage with partners or help support me in any type of presentations like that, I would love it. The more of us who can talk about what we do as a whole brings more partners to the table that we can engage during disaster responses, but also during preparedness and recovery. So please let me know if you're interested. I'd love your support and help with that. Does anyone have any questions about that presentation that we did? All right, quiet group today. On Saturday, we were at the Nevada Day Parade, and I think I heard, actually, I'm not going to even guess. There were thousands and thousands and thousands of people in attendance. It is a huge event. The parade route was 1.4 miles long. We had our emergency response vehicle, our ERV in the parade, as well as our minivan. And we had several volunteers there who were helping pass out candy, driving the vehicles, and we passed these out. We passed out 1,400 just during, no, 2,800 during that parade event. So 2,800 of these little cards went out. So hopefully we'll get some volunteers. But again, the kids loved them. We had 3 people passing out candy. I was one of them in the Prepare with Pedro costume, which was pretty tricky because I kept accidentally flinging these in people's faces. So next year, what we learned is we want to blow it up. I talked to Tiandra today, and it's such a big annual event for our whole state. We're hoping that we can get service to armed forces in the party next time. And our training services, like maybe we can do something really fun with our dummies, or not our dummies, what are our compression dolls, whatever those things are called. But we could have some fun since this parade is always around Halloween time, since Nevada Day is on Halloween. So if you guys are interested, we want to start the planning a lot earlier this next upcoming year so we can include all these lines of service and so we can do something really fun. Tiandra also, because she's been in this state her whole life, she has a lot of connections and has been involved with the Nevada Day Parade for several years. She's going to try and get us up at the front with our armed forces and with our first responders, because normally we're a little bit further back in the parade with the nonprofit organizations, which is still a wonderful spot. But if we can get right in the front, then we also can stop and watch the parade and enjoy it ourselves and do that much more networking. So we're really hoping to blow it up next year. I want to thank everybody who participated this year because it was so much fun. And again, the Pockies were a hit. So anybody have any questions about the parade or any ideas for the parade next year? And any volunteers to lead that charge? All right, I'm not hearing anything and I'm not seeing any hands, but that opportunity is available for a whole year. We have almost a year of planning. So that was super fun. Yesterday, we had our monthly chapter inventory garage and storage organization, which we meet monthly. We do an inventory of all of our preparedness materials. We do any cleanup of our garage that's needed, which this month it looked really good. There wasn't a lot of moving parts, so we didn't have too much cleanup to do. It's where we'll rearrange things if needed for different purposes. So we rearranged a couple of shelves so they were easier to access for some of our service to armed forces volunteers and just made more sense as far as where things are. You also may have noticed that we had a car, one of our Red Cross vehicles, parked in the garage for a short time. There was a couple reasons for that. The first reason is our van, our minivan, was vandalized a couple weeks ago. Some brainiac drilled a hole with a power drill or into gasoline to drain the gas tank. And so we were down a vehicle. That van was parked on the side of the building. And we've realized that that side building, even though we have a lot of windows facing that way, at night it can be vulnerable because there's not a lot of traffic coming through our parking lot. So all of the Red Cross vehicles, we've started parking in the back, or if there's not enough parking in the back, we may have an overflow vehicle stashed in that garage from time to time. It's not going to be a normal thing because it does limit how we can access everything in there. But if you see a vehicle in there, that's why. We're just trying to protect the assets. They're a little bit safer, we feel, in the back of the building because they may not be working, but there's a couple of things mounted up on the buildings that look like cameras. And then there's also more traffic that drives back there because there's other businesses who have parking areas and utilize the bay doors back there. So if you're wondering, that's why all the vehicles are back there. If you take a vehicle and bring one back, please park it in the back so that it has that little bit more visibility on it. Does anyone have any questions about the vehicles or our monthly inventory garage and storage cleanup? Okay. Like I said, that happens monthly. Everyone is always welcome. It's going to be 1 to 3 on the last Monday of every month, not the fourth Monday, but the last Monday of every month. And just join us if you can, if you want to. No reservation needed. No RSVP needed. The other thing that we have on the last Monday of every month that I already mentioned was our post-home fire outreach work group meeting. I'm not going to go into what that is because we already talked about it, but essentially we're trying to drive people to call in and request those those smoke detector installations from our home fire campaign by focusing on those areas where we've recently had disaster action team calls. So again, that occurs the last Monday of every month. You guys are always welcome. We had a small but mighty group this past month. This past Monday. And part of our garage cleanup was attaching these to our Pockies. So they could be all sorts of different projects of things, stuff that we have to deal with. So you guys are always welcome to either of those meetings. Upcoming training we have this week. Tomorrow night from 5 to 7, either in person or online. You can join us for the Disaster Action Team Response Fundamentals course. It's going to be hybrid, which means you can come to the Reno office and be in our training room, or you can join online via Teams and take the course with the rest of the group. Does anyone have any questions about that training or how to join in or how to sign up? The link to sign up is in our agenda here. All right, hearing none, we're going to go forward. This upcoming week is a rather quiet week, you guys. This week and the following week for a couple of different reasons. We're going to have our weekly volunteer opportunities and updates meeting. But this week is a quiet week. We just didn't have a whole lot on the agenda or scheduled. And next week, we have our Utah, Nevada regional retreat. So a number of staff members are going to be out of the area next week. We're going to be in Ogden, Utah, and I'm going to be spending a good portion of the rest of that week out at our Winnemucca office. So if you guys are wondering why it's a little bit quiet here in the Reno Washoe area, that's why. Doesn't mean that we cannot have volunteer sponsored events and tabling events. So if anything comes up that you guys want us to participate in, please reach out and let me know, but we don't have too much on the agenda coming up these couple of weeks. So our next meeting might be pretty short. Let me know if at our next meeting, you want us to go over some type of training component. We could look at something in Volunteer Connection. We could do a course during this time period. So let me know if there's anything else you would like to see this time utilized for, since we all get together weekly, when we have extra time in our meetings, or if there's another line of service you'd like to hear from, or someone that is a lead in our chapter, from either it's a sheltering lead or someone who runs one of our preparedness campaigns. If you want to know more about it and hear from someone else, please let me know what you want to know about so we can make these meetings enriching for everyone. Each week we talk about different team members that we need. A lot of the team members that we need, that I've vocalized over the last few weeks, have been around outreach. Last week it was about partner outreach. This week it's really, again, more about how can we support our home fire campaign and drive those requests for smoke detectors, because they go out every Friday or every Wednesday and Friday. So we're looking for volunteers who want to do outreach to our fire departments, let them know about what services we provide, the phone number that they call should someone be impacted by a home fire or other disaster and they've been displaced from their home, or other things we may be able to coordinate with them in their community, whether it be preparedness outreach through our wildfire preparedness education program, or our home fire campaign, or any of our other preparedness programs. The other thing that we're looking for is members of that post-home fire outreach team that we've already talked about. And then more partner organization outreach for partners who may be interested in supporting our home fire campaign, either making people aware of it, that, hey, this is a service Red Cross provides, or if they actually want to partner with us to go out and do those installs, or do those installs on our behalf. There's all different sorts of opportunities for our partners, and engaging them and bringing them into the fold, and helping our communities be more prepared for disaster. So if you guys are interested in any of those outreach opportunities, there's no training required other than finding out what you want to have conversations about. I'm happy to meet with you anytime to go over that and get you out there. Any questions about home fire campaign outreach opportunities? Okay. As always, we talk about different deployment opportunities. The list is a lot shorter than it's been the last few months, thankfully. That means there aren't as many disasters requiring national attention, but as you can see, the one holdout that's been on there since August is shelter resident transition. So if you have any experience in shelter resident transition and you have a few weeks available to go support in Maui, that is something that they're still looking for. There's still open positions. So please let me know if you have the time available and you have the experience. There is some experience required for shelter resident transition. If you don't have that experience, but you would like future opportunities to support shelter resident transition, please reach out and let me know so we can get you that training. It's something that's needed on every disaster where a shelter is open. So there's a lot of opportunities for every disaster almost to support and shelter resident transition.
Yeah, can I go
Yes,
a little
please.
detail about that one too? Yeah, SRT, the shelter resident transition, there's another Red Cross acronym for you, but who would really benefit from deploying in that role? Somebody that's interested in client casework. So you guys, maybe you do, maybe you don't know how DAT works, disaster action team, but you show up on scene, you open up a case, you give financial assistance. 12 to 24 hours later, a person calls you up and says, hey, I'm your casework person, and they're essentially like a social worker that's there to help you with all the roadblocks to recovery that we can do within a 2-week time frame. So it's a cool deal. So why am I saying this? It's very similar to shelter resident transition position, because what the old Red Cross used to do is say, hey, everybody, the shelter's going to close in 24 hours. You need to find a place to go. Good luck. And, you know, and
it freaked people out
it-
and it caused a lot of more anxiety for people.
yeah, and I mean, we were doing everybody a disservice with that. And so what we did was we formed this hybrid role of like, you work in a shelter, so you're like a shelter volunteer, but you specifically help with what's preventing you from leaving the shelter right now. What are those roadblocks? Okay, well, you need a moving van to get your items from point A to point B to go to a new place. We can help with that. You know, you need a new job in a new location. We can, you know, try to help with that. And so there are all these different things that are unique that Red Cross has started to roll out in this new role of shelter resident transition. And if you were to deploy in that, you would learn about how to help people with longer term housing. And you'd be able to take that skill back with you here at your Northern Nevada chapter and support people that are victims of house fires and whatever other disaster that might cause them to be displaced. So it's a very valuable, cool skill set. And I just wanted to give that little backstory.
Awesome. Thank you, Matt. So the other way that you can gain experience locally to qualify to deploy in shelter resident transition is just like Matt said, is to do local casework and support our local recovery team in that casework to get the experience in RC care and in the system. And then that qualifies as experience for you to go and actually deploy and work as a shelter resident transition team member. And sometimes there's opportunities where you don't need that previous experience and they'll teach you on the job. Maui is pretty challenging in a unique situation with their extremely limited housing and being that they're on an island, that they're really only utilizing experienced shelter resident transition team members. But if you're looking for that experience, those opportunities are probably going to be in Hawaii for a while, and you can join our local recovery team and support them. Like Matt said, after people are impacted by local disasters and our disaster action team responds. So please reach out to me if you're interested. Does anyone on the line have any questions about that right now? Or those opportunities or what that might look like? Okay, seeing no hands and hearing no one, I'm going to go back to our agenda. Here's where I give you all a final reminder. Please record your hours if you attended this meeting in person, Elaine. If you watch this, join us online, or if you watch this as a video later, that counts as volunteer hours. So record them. If you ever need a refresher on how to do that, let me know and we can walk through that. But it's pretty easy. You just hit this button right here on your volunteer connection screen and follow the prompts. But if you ever have any questions about what you're supposed to put in each field, reach out to me and we can walk through it. Upcoming meetings, we have this meeting weekly at 4 o'clock. Sometimes it's hybrid like it was today. I put in the reminder, hey, we're going to be in the Reno office. Join us if you can make it. But every month, we intentionally have a meeting that's going to be in person. I mentioned it earlier. On the 14th of November, we're going to be at the Winnemucca office, and we're going to have a little Thanksgiving celebration with the team there. I'm not quite sure what it's going to look like. Probably a little potluck fare. I'm going to probably bring a turkey breast as opposed to a big old turkey because I don't have an oven in the Winnemucca office, but I do have a crock pot that I think I can cook a turkey breast in, right? Yeah. Elaine knows the recipe. She's going to teach me how, so it'll taste wonderful based on Elaine. Just giving me a hard time. But again, we'd love everyone to join us. We don't have a huge team out there in Winnemucca, but the way we can grow our team is by welcoming those that are there and making them feel as part of our Northern Nevada team. And I'm hopefully going to invite some of our community partners who are trying to potentially recruit into becoming volunteers or supporting as partners out there in Central Nevada should disasters occur. Anyone have any questions about upcoming in-person meetings or any suggestions about what they'd like to see at any of our upcoming in-person meetings. Okay, oh, Barry, you have your hand up. What's up, Barry? Barry, if you're talking, you're muted.
Oh, I was just gonna check into the Maui thing later. I just happen to be wearing a Maui shirt. And my
Ooh.
wife has relatives in Maui that were displaced, so it
Oh.
seems like a natural, yeah.
So Barry, can you tell us, if it's not too personal, and if I'm putting you on the spot, please say, no, I'm not comfortable sharing that, but can you share what they've experienced and what you've heard from them, and where are they right now?
They're on Oahu right now because they're not even allowed into their neighborhood. They have a house on Lahaina. And so they're still not even sure how much damage has been done. They haven't been allowed in.
Okay, and are they
So-
staying with family, friends, or were they put up by the Red Cross in a hotel or a motel situation, or how did they?
Yeah. No, they're staying with family
Okay.
on Oahu.
Okay, so this just kind of adds to the scope, you guys. Right now, like last night on our shelter report, we still had 6,800 people that were in non-congregate sheltering. So in hotels, motels, condos that Red Cross is supporting. But as most disasters, that's not everybody. Like Barry's family, they found their own accommodations with family. So that number of 6,800 is just a portion of the people that have been displaced and have still been impacted in dealing with this disaster. And it's going to go on a long time. How is your family faring, Barry? Like as far as services and other things around them?
They're okay. You know, financially they're fine. So, and you know, it's close-knit family. It's Hawaii. It's a little different. And, you know, people are very warm and friendly, and uh, they're being well taken care of. It's not really a problem.
Very
Well,
good.
I mean, it's a problem, but
Right.
you know, I'm sure they're having a great time with family. So,
They're getting through with support. Thank you so much for sharing that, Barry. And I appreciate that personal experience because so many of us know people in Hawaii and have a personal connection, but so many of us don't. And it is such a huge disaster and has impacted so many people. And a lot of people are curious about it, especially in Red Cross being a disaster response agency. So it's always good to get these personal updates when we have responders that go there, or we have responders who have had family members impacted. So thank you for that update, Barry, and for joining today.
sure. Yep.
With that, you guys, that's all I have for our agenda today. Does anyone else want to come off mute and share any questions or any updates or anything else that they have related to Red Cross? Erica, you didn't join us early enough, but I gave you huge plugs on our snacks and told everybody about our Pockies and invited everybody to come get more to hand out for Halloween treats because all those boxes you dropped off, we've almost done with attaching these to them. We have like one more box left of, I think, the 5 or 6 more that you dropped off. So thank you again, Erica, for that. And anybody who wants snacks, come get them.
You're welcome. And like I said, I can get it won't always be Pocky. It will be different items all the time. But I think it's a great outreach for us to, hand someone something, and it doesn't always have to be branded, but it has to have our name on it. So anyway, glad you all enjoyed them.
I'm so happy. Thank you, Erica. It's such an awesome connection. So if our volunteers know of other organizations that may benefit, can they benefit from our staff, or is that something that you might be able to approach that partner with, or should we just keep it in-house?
They can reach out to me if they want to. I can make the connection. It has to be a nonprofit, of course. And yeah, always willing to make that bridge there.
Awesome. Thank you, Erica. It's such a great connection. And I've been telling everybody about it.
Well, I have
Oh.
them tonight ready with my cards on it. So all of our trick-or-treaters are gonna get my card.
Awesome. We love that because you're the one who can point them in any direction they may need to go. So I am looking at the chat really quick right now, you guys. I see a question. How about sharing the snacks at Pedro presentations? Amen, sister. As long as the teachers give us the A-OK, yes, we will. Anywhere that we are able to pass them out, if we have them on hand, heck yeah, we're going to pass them out. And get the word out about our programs, becoming a volunteer, anything else that we can attach to these little things that might make it to a home. Yes. For Amy, the virtual session shows no open seats. Are you talking about on our disaster action team response fundamentals class tomorrow night? Let me pull that up and see what I see. Probably going to make me sign in really quick. There we go. And actually, you guys, I'm going to go in a different way just to make it a little bit quicker. So I don't have to go through all those sign-in screens. And if you guys, this is how you look up a course in Edge. If you're not sure, if you don't have a link to it, you just type the course name up in this search bar or search window. And here is the session. It says 16 seats available. 16 out of 20. Is this the one you were looking at? Are you still on with us? Amy, are you available? Are you still on with us and able to come off mute? I don't see her still on the call, so I will get back with her. If anyone else wants to join this class and you're having any issues signing up, please reach out to me. There's plenty of space available online and in person, is my understanding. I will confirm with Jim Rich, but if you want to take the course, we want to get you into it. So please just reach out to me and let me know. With that, I think that was all the questions I saw in chat. Anything else that we want to open up to the group before we close out for the day?
Yeah, Sherry, I don't think I told you last week, but about 2 weeks ago, I did give that presentation at the DAR about what the Red Cross does in the area, and it did go very well. So that was a nice opportunity.
Thank you, Jen. That definitely should have been on one of my agendas as a follow-up item. So thank you very much for sharing that feedback. And again, next time we'll have Pockies for you to take with you or some other similar type of snack. So
no, that's what made me remember it. I was like, I could have brought snacks.
We didn't have them when you did your presentation. This was a really recent, I think, wasn't it just last week, Erica, that you brought the first stashes in? So we didn't have them when you went out and did yours, but going forward, we're going to make it as part of the Go Pack. All right, thank you, Jen. Anyone else to share? Okay, with that, you guys, we're going to end this 2 minutes early. You have a wonderful afternoon and evening. Thank you again for joining, and thank you, viewers, for all of you who joined and watch this video later. Have an excellent week. We'll see you next week. Bye. And happy Halloween.